We live in a world that just never stops talking. It's loud out there. But today, we're going to explore a completely different kind of strength. It's one that doesn't need to shout to be heard. It's this quiet power that comes from deep within, what we call internal security.
Seriously, just think about it for a second. We are drowning in noise, right? Notifications, opinions, this constant pressure to be on and perform. So, in a world that pretty much just rewards the loudest voice in the room, what happens to the quiet ones? And maybe more importantly, what kind of power do they really hold? And this right here really shows the two paths you can take. On one side, you've got that endless, exhausting hunt for external validation, the likes, the followers, the spotlight. But on the other side, something way, way deeper, internal security. This is all about finding your worth from self-respect, from your own values, not from what an audience thinks. And trust me, that's a massive shift in how you see the world.
Okay, so how do we actually make that shift? Well, it all starts with understanding what this quiet power truly is. It's about consciously moving away from all that external noise and chaos and instead turning inward to find some real clarity and strength.
So here's the core of it. Internal security, it's not arrogance, and it's definitely not about ignoring what people have to say. It's more like a grounded confidence that comes from inside you. What it means is your self-worth isn't on some wild roller coaster ride that goes up and down based on someone else's praise or criticism. Nope, it's stable. It's yours, and you own it.
All right, so this all sounds fantastic in theory, right? But what does it actually look like in practice, in a real person? Well, we've broken it down into 7 key traits. Think of these as the telltale signs of someone who's really operating from a place of genuine internal security.
Let's dive in. First up, and this one is kind of the foundation for everything else, people with this quiet power, they are their own anchor. Think about it like this. In a stormy sea of shifting opinions, they stay steady. Why? Because they know what they stand for. So when some new trend or a huge wave of public opinion rolls in, they're not just swept away with it. Their decisions are guided by their own internal compass, not by whatever happens to be popular at the moment.
Okay, number 2, and this one is so crucial in our digital world. They absorb, they don't just broadcast.
We're all living in a world of constant self-promotion, but these folks, they listen. Like really listen. They're not just waiting for their turn to talk. They're genuinely curious about what other people think because other perspectives don't threaten them. They get that a real, deep connection is worth so much more than a fleeting moment of attention.
And that brings us to what actually motivates them. The third trait is a big one. Their drive is internal.
You could say their engine runs on purpose, not on praise. Sure, getting recognition is nice, who doesn't like that, but it's not the fuel. They actually find satisfaction in the process itself, in the act of creating something or solving a problem. The bottom line is, they'd still be doing their best work even if absolutely no one was watching.
All right, number 4. This trait is all about the world they build inside their own minds.
See, they cultivate this really rich inner world. They totally get the wisdom in this classic quote. Your happiness really does depend on the quality of your thoughts. So instead of letting their mood get yanked around by whatever's happening on the outside, they build a resilient mindset, one that can find peace and meaning from within.
Next up, we've got the 5th trait. They act. They don't just react. And honestly, this is a total game changer.
So instead of having a knee-jerk reaction to every little thing that happens, they create a little bit of space, a pause between what happens and how they respond. And in that space, they choose a deliberate, thoughtful action. This is what keeps them from getting pulled into useless drama or making those impulsive decisions we all regret later. It's a quiet but powerful display of emotional mastery.
Okay, trait number 6 is a really powerful form of self-preservation. It's simple. They protect their energy. They see it as this incredibly precious resource, and they guard it fiercely. This means they are completely comfortable saying no to things without feeling guilty about it, because they know that saying yes to the wrong thing means saying no to what actually matters. For them, setting boundaries isn't selfish at all. It's a fundamental act of self-respect.
And that brings us to the end of our list. Finally, number 7, and this might be the most defining trait of them all. They don't perform. They just are. The person you meet in public, that's the exact same person they are behind closed doors. Their identity isn't some role they're playing for an audience. It's just who they are. And that authenticity, that's the ultimate sign of internal security.
It means they have absolutely nothing to prove.
So, after going through all these traits, the big question is, how can we cultivate this in ourselves? And look, this isn't about becoming a totally different person. It's about tapping into the strength that you already have. Let's try and bring this all together.
So here they are, all 7 traits at a glance. Everything from having that internal compass to just being the same person no matter where you are. You can see how each of these builds on the others, right? They create this really powerful, stable foundation of self. It boils down to listening, acting with purpose, and of course, protecting your energy. Now, this isn't some kind of checklist you have to follow. It's really a shift in your mindset. So, first, just notice the noise. Acknowledge all those external pressures to perform and compare. Then, start working on defining your signal. What are your core values? What really truly matters to you? And finally, and this might be the hardest part, learn to trust your quiet. To have confidence that your path is the right one for you, even if it's not the loudest.
And we're going to leave you with this final thought. It's a pretty powerful question to sit with for a bit. If you just stripped away that need for validation and just let yourself be, who is that person? What would they do? That is the heart of quiet power. Thanks for joining us for this explainer.